Hey guys, it's me in the new studio, which I will be painting and putting up the letters and stuff soon. But I wanted to share you a story of something that has actually influenced my family in the past. So I was looking for new cases, and I actually forgot about this one until I was looking online, and I came across this one. So in Bloomington, the place that I grew up, let me write that down. I forgot to. I have my notes in front of me, by the way. Actually, I'm like really putting this set up right now. But ignore my chair; it's squeaking under me. But so we're talking about the Stepp family or the Stepp family cemetery. So it is in the Hoosier Forest, which is in Bloomington. I actually lived right outside of the Hoosier Forest, and my father tells stories about what he and his friends, because they used to go there as kids, like teens. So there are a lot of legends surrounding this thing because it is in like small town Indiana. But I would say there are a lot. So I just wanted to go over these. Like I said, I haven't really done anything. This is just off of lore that I gathered. So there are many ghostly women that are seen, and one of them supposedly came here on a trip with her fiance or husband, and she did not want to be married to him, so she went in and skinny dipped in the nearby lake and actually ended up drowning, and supposedly she haunts the cemetery. Another one is, and this one has a story behind it because my father actually experienced this one firsthand, is there is this stump of a tree that was struck down by lightning and has a it looks like a tree, basically. So one night, my father and his friends, they were in high school, they went to this place, like they always would. And I think it was like Friday the 13th or something like that. So they were just being idiots, nothing new. Um, and it was this thing of if you sat on the stump at midnight, you would be cursed, like something horrible would happen to you. So this kid sits on the stump 30 minutes before midnight. He sits there. He gets up, right? Of course, my father's telling him, don't do that. That's stupid. Don't do that. You get cursed. They're a bit drunk, a bit tipsy. And he's like, no, man. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to prove this to you. I'm going to be fine. They go to gym next morning. They were playing, I think, volleyball. I don't remember exactly. But he broke his arm that next day. Oh, my God. But it definitely didn't. And my father, being himself, he's a very spiritual dude. He walks up to the kid and he goes, "It was the stump, man. You should have said it was the stump." So that freaked him the hell out. So another one was, and there are, like I said, there's a lot of lore behind this one. So I'm just checking stuff off. In the 1950s, there was supposedly a car crash in which a young girl died. Now, there is another one that kind of connects to this, but it didn't say if it was the same. But from what I can tell, because there are a lot of similarities, that they are kind of the same legend, they're just not, they branched out of each other. So another one is that a mother mourns her child because of the car crash. So she kind of like blamed herself, and she actually lost her hand. She lost her wrist. It cut off her hand in this crash. So she has a hook. And supposedly, she went one night to the Stepp family cemetery. Stay with me. She unburied her daughter to hold her one more time. Sink in. Supposedly, the next morning, the local rangers were called in, and they found that she had committed suicide. That's chilling to me. But then that may also tie into the ghostly woman that walks around town, or not walks around town, around the cemetery. It could be sort of a legend, lore. I try to combine them, but didn't work, that have sort of branched off of each other. And then there is also the story of a fire. Now, this one, if I'm correct, this is documented. So there was a man that lived on the cemetery, and the city basically, there goes the camera. Okay. the city basically paid him to keep these, because at this time it was pretty well abandoned. Nobody had buried there since forever, and it's still abandoned. But this man and his family were paid by the city to take care of it and try to keep it, not crumbling away or whatever. And I don't remember exactly how this goes because this was told to me by my family. So apparently, something I think the wife died. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on this. We'll probably find out later. But apparently, the wife died, and this man who took care of it slowly went insane. He went mad, and his two sons lived there. And one night, he burned down the house that he lived in. It was one of 3 cabins on the property, and 2 of which you can actually still rent out over the summer. What? And I think in the spring and fall as well. But I think you can actually do it all year round. I'm not sure. I'll have to check back in with that. Anyway, so apparently they haunt the place too. So that story was told to me by my father along with the haunted stump, which was noted in this website where I saw this theory again. Another thing that was noted was that nearby there is this smaller, off branch of a forest kind of thing, and there is a bridge that goes through it. Now, I actually remember this bridge. I drove over this bridge a lot when I lived in town, and I think this is actually a true story as well, that a man died in the construction. So around this case, there are a lot of legends, and I don't even think I wrote all of them down. I think that, because this is all I have. So, and I only looked on the site and then gathered just what I had heard myself. Sorry that the lighting is kind of weird. It's actually, it's midnight right now. So I have my light on recording this, so it's a little bit weird. So, come on. This is something that I definitely want to look into because it has affected people that my family have known and that I have known. So that's definitely going to be a important one. And this is one of those cases where I know that Reese is going to be very interested in. She quite likes these sort of cases where it's very concrete in local lore. Because, for example, the Jenna Lake case that was just closed. The problem with that case is that the local lore was very minimal. There wasn't much. In fact, if there hadn't been severe electrical problems at the school and just weird things going on, and then if I hadn't been in the knowing, because at that point I was training to be an agent, then I would have never caught that case, and she would still be there. So, that one, that's the difference between, say, the Jenna Lake case, where it wasn't as obvious, and then this new case, where there's a lot of lore. Now, it's deeper lore because I already do know that there is some truth behind it, compared to like the campus lore, and it's oh, that's just a bunch of college kids. But we are still going to look into it just in case, because I don't want to be the idiot that says, hey, let's not look into this case and then find out that something really did happen there. So, I'm sure that there's something that did happen there eventually on the Indiana University campus. I wouldn't be surprised at all. So basically, in a gist, that is just a little introduction to this new sort of case thing. I'm going to upload this, and write on the blog about this right now, and put in the group chat. I'm not going to even more. The team is awake, it's just me. Oh my goodness. I'm very happy that we found this case again, because it is from where I am from. It is around where my great-great-great-grandparents grew up. So it is a very intriguing case to me. And also, I was going to record this on my camera, but it's not all the way charged up yet. So sorry that the quality isn't as good as it should be. But I am excited for that. I mean, I really am excited for this one. The Janelle case one, at first, it was like, oh my god, I need to do this quickly because, I still have family that goes to the school, and there's a lot of people that are unprepared for this kind of thing. With this one, it's abandoned, and there's a lot of local legend. Oh, one thing I did forget to mention that I didn't even write down. There are cries that are heard by one of the women that are supposedly there, possibly the same one as I mentioned before, if it's all kind of branched out of the same original piece of lore. But the police, the BPD, and the local park rangers have gotten calls, and this is like really well documented, especially in like the last few years. You'll get calls of a woman like crying in the cemetery and wailing, and she's just freaking out. So they go there to see if anybody is injured or is ill, and then they won't see anyone. So even the local rangers and police force even kind of agree that something is off, something is weird. So it is definitely really well believed that something is there, and I really hope that one day we'll be able to get one of those cabins we rented out for a while, because apparently they are pretty freaky too. My father has done it a few times as well. So definitely, this is a big opportunity, a good case for us, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.